Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today we are going to be talking about my birth story. So I will be 5 weeks postpartum in a couple of days, and this experience was a lot different from my first baby, so I just wanted to share this with you. I always love watching birth stories, so yeah, I thought I'd share mine. So the first time I was pregnant, I got induced, and I was 41 weeks when I was induced, and I have regretted the induction ever since. It took 2 full days for me to have the baby, and I feel like the medicine they were giving me just slowed me down a lot. And so I always said, this time around, I'm going to try to be strong and just let my body go into labor naturally. Well, when I was 40 weeks, I decided I could not have enough of, or I've had enough of this, and that I was going to be induced. So I went in to be induced on February 15th at 9 a.m. And I think it took about two and a half hours for the whole like process of being admitted and everything like that to be started and put on the monitor. I wanted to labor at home because the first time around they wouldn't let me do, like, the nurses wouldn't let me use the medicine ball or go in the shower or like do any of these things that I had planned on doing to help myself get through the labor. So this time around, because I was induced, I was expecting the same sort of routine. Like, I was expecting it to take the same amount of time. I was hoping it would only take 1 day though, since this is my second baby and I heard that that was faster. But I was prepared for the long haul and for it to be hell. So I think it was like 11:30, maybe noon, they gave me my first dose of Cytotec, which is a pill that they insert into your cervix to help soften your cervix. And so they put that in there, and you can't get up for 30 to 45 minutes because they don't want it to fall out or anything like that. So I was already kind of annoyed because I wanted to skip the Cytotec altogether because I had it with my son the first time I was pregnant and it did nothing for me at all. So this time around, I ended up getting it again because I wasn't dilated at all. I was at a 1 to 1.5 when I was admitted. So yeah, I got the first dose of Cytotec, whatever. And so throughout everything, the whole story, I also had these monitors. If you've had a baby before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's monitors that they strap to your belly, one to monitor contractions and the other is to monitor the baby. And I don't know if it's just because I'm like plus size or what, but these monitors are hell. Like, I always tell everybody, it's the worst part about having a baby is being hooked up to these monitors. They hurt me. They're uncomfortable. You have to lay down on your back, or else it can't get the reading. And you're 40 weeks pregnant. Laying on your back is so uncomfortable. So anyway, the whole time I'm fighting with the nurses, like, can I take a break? The baby, she was moving around so much. The readings were like all over the place. They could never get a set reading. So the whole time, like I said, I'm begging them, like, can I have a break? Can I have a break? Can I have a break? Whatever. When can I be done? When can I be done? And they would all give me different answers and whatever. I ended up having them on right up until the last minute. So annoying. I'm not the best patient and I would just take them off sometimes and be like, oops, sorry. Anyway, back to the story. So I ended up getting the Cytotec. They came back to check me 4 hours later and nothing had happened, so they gave me another dose. This ended up happening 3 times. I got the Cytotec 3 times. Every time they checked me, nothing happened. So at midnight, they gave me my last dose. They gave me another dose of the Cytotec. And again, when they had checked me right before, I was still at a 1, a 1.5. Nothing had changed. So they gave me this. And I can't remember now why. So also I had my mom and my fiance at the hospital with me. They were able to alternate who was in the bedroom with me. but they couldn't come back with me at the same time because of restrictions, which was so annoying. But anyway, so at this time, it was midnight, like I said, and I had my fiance in the room with me, and we got into an argument about something. I don't remember what it was, but I was very emotional, hormonal, in pain from the contractions I was having, which were few and far between, but I was just irritated. It had been a long day, hadn't been able to sleep. Anyway, so we got in an argument and I asked him just to leave, and I said, "Don't send my mom back. I just wanted to be by myself." So he did, goes out there, and I expected him to like come back because I'm in labor or I'm having a baby, but he didn't. He stayed out in the lobby, but he didn't send my mom back either, which obviously I had asked, so it was fine. But anyway, so I'm just hanging out by myself, like scrolling through my phone, doing whatever, and then like 2 a.m. rolls around and my contractions start getting worse and I'm in a lot of pain and they feel like they're coming back to back, but at this point I had been going to the bathroom a lot, so I took the monitors off. Like I just kept feeling like I had to go to the bathroom. I couldn't stop. And but I was just going pee, which normally they say if you're in labor you're going number 2. And I was just going pee, so I was like, I didn't think anything of it. But then the pain started getting really, really, really intense. So my mom had texted me and said, "How are you doing?" And I was in such pain I couldn't even like formulate a full sentence. I just texted her and said, "Send Keith." Like, so she sent him in here. So I go to get back up to get in the bed, and another contraction hits, and I was like, no, I gotta, like, I couldn't stand. Laying on the bed wasn't an option because it was kind of too far away, and I was like, I gotta sit back down. So I sit back down on the toilet and I let it pass, whatever. And then again, like I said, I'm in a lot of pain, so I asked to get in the shower. And my first time around, they kept telling me no. My nurse this time, thank God, said, "Sure, get in. I don't see why not." So I got in the shower and my contractions really started like ramping up, like really, really, really bad. I was in the shower. I brought the chair in, like I was going in every single position to try and like get comfortable. And the contractions, like I said, like one would end and I would have like a second to breathe and then it would come back, and so it was miserable. So I'm, whatever. Eventually I'm like, the shower's not helping. This hot water, the cold water, nothing is helping me. So I might as well just get back into bed. So I get out of the shower and I get back into bed and the contractions are still coming. I'm holding on to the side of the bed and I tell Keith, or the nurse came in to check on me to put the straps back on, and I say, like, I'm in a lot of pain. Can I get something? I need some pain medication. And she said, like, the only thing we could give you is Stadol, which is like a narcotic. And I said, I don't care, give it to me. And so she said, okay, well, let me go check with the doctor. Because at this point too, I told the nurse that the contractions were getting really, really, really intense. And she was just like, well, duh, that's like the medicine is supposed to do that. You don't have to be checked for another, at this point, 2 hours. And so I was like, oh my God, are you kidding? So, well, the timeline of things, like when things happened, is a little blurry because I hadn't slept all day and stuff like that. So there are some timestamps that I know, but just so just so you know, I don't know exactly when, like what minute things happened. But anyway, so at that point I didn't have to be checked for another 2 hours, and so I said like, can they come check me now? Like the contractions, they just are really intense and I just feel like I just want to be checked. And she's like, well, you don't need to be checked for a while. Let me go check with the doctor about the Stadol and I'll come back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So she comes back and she says that that the doctor said I can get Stadol, but I have to be on those monitors for another 20 minutes. And I start crying and I'm just like, no, I need it now. Like, I'm in pain now. I can't, I didn't think I could wait another 20 minutes. And so she's like, well, that's what he says, and she hooks me up on the monitor, and I'm laying on my side at this point, still holding onto the bed, and Keith, he's sitting right in front of me, and if you've had a baby and you've gone in, like, you've been in labor, you know that, like, at some point you don't have a choice. Like, when your body needs to push, it pushes. Like, it doesn't wait for you. Like, it just pushes. And so that's what started happening. I just kept, I was telling Keith, I have to push, I have to push. And so, like, my body was just, like, doing it for me. And then water just shot out everywhere. And so I told Keith, like, get the nurse, my water just broke. So he gets the nurse, she comes in, and I was like, my water just broke, like, my water just broke. So she's like, okay, let me get the doctor. So she goes and gets the doctor, and he comes in to check me. And at this time it was 3:41. My water broke at 3:41. So the doctor comes in, checks me, and he's like, you're at a 9.5. We gotta go to the, I was in a pre-labor room. So at the hospital I was at, you go into a different room for delivery. So he's like, we gotta go now. So they go get a wheelchair, they put me on the wheelchair, and Keith's just like trying to pack up our stuff, and they're like, no, just leave it, we'll grab it, like, just go with her. And so we're going to the delivery room, which is pretty close. And I'm like, okay, so when do I get my epidural? When do I get it? And the nurse, I mean, she wasn't being rude or anything, but, like, she deals with this all day, every day. So I'm sure she's just like, oh, like, it wasn't being rude at all, but she was just like, oh, honey, no, it's too late for that. Like, you can't get any medicine. And so I start freaking out, and I'm like, no, like, I need it. I can't do this. And I'm like hysterical because the pain was so bad just from the contractions. Like, I did not think I could push this baby out with no medicine. So, she's like, they're telling me I can't have anything, and I'm screaming, crying, and Keith is he's so sweet, bless his heart, is trying to be like, this is what you wanted it all natural, you didn't want to have medication, like, this is a good thing. And I just looked at him, and I was just like, shut the up. And the nurses were like probably trying to slip him like domestic violence forms or something, because they were like, oh my God. And I'm just like, stop telling me that. Like, I don't care. I need it. I can't do this. Well, I can do this. I did do this. An hour my water broke at 3:41. At 4:41, I delivered my baby. The doctor, it took forever for him to get there, the on-call doctor, which was so annoying because I'm ready. I'm telling them, like, I have to push. And they're like, no. Like, I just saw him pull in the parking lot. He'll be here in a second. And I'm just like, I have to push. So I just, like, I push because I don't have a choice. But anyway, the doctor eventually came in and he delivered my baby. Once I saw her, I just pulled her out. I reached down and was like, can I? And I didn't even wait for anyone to say yes or no. And I pulled her out and I brought her up to me. They started being like, no, hold on, because I don't know if I did it, but somehow her umbilical cord ripped and she wasn't breathing. And I was just like asking them, like, what's wrong with her? Why isn't she crying? What's wrong with her? And so they took her away from me, and I made Keith go with her. I literally was like, don't worry about me, stay with her. And he said they like had to flip her over a bunch of ways and were like tickling her feet and her back and like hitting her. And eventually I did hear her cry. But yeah, and so then they wheeled me down to the like recovery room, and my daughter was perfect. She was 8 pounds, 1 ounce, 20 inches long. Yeah, she was absolutely perfect. We recovered, and we got to go home the next day, and it was amazing. My first time around, my fiance wasn't able to stay with me. He was with us for 4 hours and then had to go to work because he was working at a new job. And it was a miserable experience, honestly, the first time around. But this time around, like, I couldn't have asked for anything better. My mom got to come in immediately after I had the baby and meet her. And it was great. Yeah. So, and now we're recovered and we're healthy, and, yeah, so I will insert a picture of my daughter. She's sleeping right now, and I'm not about to wake her up. But yeah, so that was my birth story. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see in the future, also leave that below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!